Well, what I'm tempted to say in this moment is that it used to be for me more of a black and white, states of mind experience. So I would experience being in a low state of mind, and being in distress or upset. And then I would have a name for that, have a thought about that. And then I would be in a flowing, wonderful state of mind, and I would have a name for that and a thought about that, and identify that as the truth. And so for me, the shift over the last couple of years has really been, you know, this presence that we are, this consciousness that is here. Whether we're using it, we're binding it up in some kind of thinking, or whether it's flowing like a beautiful river with birds flying and singing. This is, when we say mind, it includes all of it, or at least when I say mind, it includes all of it. And so now I just have noticed that my mind is my own mind, you could say, is just quiet now about the changes. So I may have a bad day, get into a fight with my husband for some reason, and then come out of it and have a beautiful day. And it all means a lot less to me, whether I'm having wonderful thoughts or very negative thoughts, because what I understand, or what I recognize, is that this truth, it just always is. Now, whether or not we're expressing beautiful truth and wisdom, it's still how we're expressing it, the fact that we can express it, the fact that it is being created, the fact that I have the voice to speak, I have these vocal cords, and this miracle that is life in all of its horror and beauty, so for me, and just sharing, because I don't hear a particular question from you, and I'm happy to entertain a question. It just means less to me whether anything in the form is going up, down, or sideways. So whether it's, if my career is going up, or whether it's going down, or whether it's going sideways, which it does all those three things, like on a pretty reliable basis, or whether my moods are going up or down or sideways. This consciousness, what we know that's eternal, or that's constant across these changing forms, whether they be thought forms, or the emotions that come with different thought forms, or whether they be the form of our career, or our environment, or our relationships, or family relationships. We know that this consciousness is constant. And that, to me, is the stopping place, the stopping looking for some kind of what I call evidence in the outside, whether that evidence is even a mood state, or an epiphany, or an insight. I see that people fall into this trap of looking for evidence for themselves. I have a higher state of mind now because I'm in a better mood all the time, or my relationships are better. Now, that's true. I mean, that happens, and it's a good sign, and it's wonderful, and it's fantastic. But there's a point at which we gain what I call spiritual maturity. And that's when you really start to see that a form is always changing, and insights come and they go, and yet there's a deeper sort of organic understanding that there's something behind it all, which you have called mind. And that just that understanding, that identifying with this constant energy, this constant presence, this constant love in the midst of all of this is enough. Yeah, because it's all just thought. Lose, win, and then you win, and then you think, oh, I'm so. It's people have said in the Three Principles world, and also people like Papaji, Gangaji's teacher, when you actually win, all that happens is you quiet your mind for a few minutes. Because the ego has this agreement, well, if I get that, I'm going to be happy. I'm gonna let you be happy, which means I'm not going to worry about anything for a few minutes. And yet, this idea of not worrying about anything for a few minutes could happen in this moment. Mm-hmm. It could happen in the midst of what we call loss. So, to be honest with you, in terms of my coaching outside of the Three Principles world, it's I don't want to say struggle. It's not a struggle, but there's this piece that I need to work with people on, which is that they usually want an outcome. Like they want to get a job or get past something, or they have a goal, like you say. And you probably come up against this yourself in coaching, and you've had this personally, this goal thing going on. So there's a point at which there's a little bit of where I'm saying, look, this is not the point of what I'm talking about. Now, it ends up happening that they do get a job. But the deepest education we can give people is that no matter what happens, they are fine. And these challenges that arise are another opportunity to discover that they are fine. So each challenge that seems negative and seems like suffering is actually just a part of this burning, you said something about I'm losing myself. And that's right, because the burning is this idea of a self and what the self needs. You're burning through that. And then it's in my experience personally, having let go of goals. And I think goals come and go. I'm not opposed to goals. Like I have a goal of writing a book, and I understand that's what I'm doing. But it's when we put well-being, we attach the goal to this well-being. We attach the goal to some kind of whole state or state of fulfillment. That's the mistake. Mm. So when we understand where fulfillment comes from and where whole being comes from, that sense of wholeness, then it's okay to play the game. It's okay to have a goal, and as long as you're vigilant and you remember, and I still have to remind myself, because in this world we set goals. I notice that people like you and I who've been around the principles for some time, we don't do the 5-year plan or the 10-year plan. There may be a goal of I need to, buy a new home or save some money. That's practical, right? But if we understand really where well-being comes from, then there's such safety in that, and there's such freedom and such discovery, and so I just also wanted to share, I was starting to share this just a minute ago, that I if I have goals, because we do in this sort of practical world, my husband and I do, as a family we do, it's always this sort of reminder, it feels to me, based on our feeling state, based on when we're thinking that the goal holds some true value that it doesn't hold. then we remember, oh, okay, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
getting caught up. And I do that. I mean, I personally do that, I just have to remember because now, um, as I've been leaving the center more and more, I have my little business card and my little stuff that you do for the coaching and to build a practice and retreats and things and and I can start to think it's important.